Hi everyone, my name is Isaac, and we're back again with another episode of Tumekua.
Yes, my name is Amelia. Long time no here. That was cheesy. Long time no, long time no here.
And finally, this is Neil. We're back.
So we're
Yes.
sorry that we haven't recorded for a while, and the reason is we just started uni. I think from the last time and now we've done our whole first year of uni and moved to different countries or onto different things, and it was just a busy period.
Yeah. Anyway, it's not much of an excuse given that even some of us are transitioning into our third year, but things have been hectic.
I feel like now with also our new episodes, you guys, we've taken a new turn to it. I think we're choosing a more serious path, more current path in the conversations that we're gonna have from
More
henceforth.
radical,
Yeah,
more controversial.
definitely more controversial.
Yeah. More debate invoking.
Yeah.
We're going to start on a new series, which is titled the Decolonization series. Couple of episodes under that. And the first one is just a general introduction into decolonization, just to provide a background into what to expect over the course of the series. All right, so let's get into it. What do you think colonization is, or what do you think the most conventional meaning of colonization is? Like, what do most people view colonization as?
Can I go first?
Yeah, go first.
Yeah.
I could say colonization has been split into like two parts. But it was good for the colonizers, obviously, and up to today, now they revere the during the colonial times, how these guys came, make money from the resources they got. Then, from our perspective, obviously, it's savage people who came in and took our land and other resources.
Yeah.
I think colonization, point blank, is oppression of the mind, oppression of the physical being because of belonging to a certain race.
That's true. I agree with that. Yeah, and I think like sometimes people don't view colonization the way Neil has described it or the way Isaac has described it. They see it as that period, that the period from when they came like in the late 1890s to the 1970s, where they came and imposed their civilization on us. Yeah, I think that's how most people view it. They see it as maybe advantageous because we became civilized. Yeah, I think that's how most people view it. And how about decolonization?
So I think decolonization is it's like the process that you have to go through to remove that colonial foundation that was there before in your mind, and now in reality, like in the world, in the way things work.
Mm-hmm. Neil, what do you think?
I could say decolonization is unlearning just what was taught during colonial times, or just reverting back to your old ways or back to our own culture and giving power to what was downplayed by the colonizers.
Default settings back then that you had back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think also I think most people just view decolonization from a myopic point of view, a very narrow point of view, other than what you guys have said. Like that period, those transformations that occurred during this period being the obtaining of political independence. When the colonizers left our countries, we changed our heads of state, and we started ruling ourselves.
But did
Yeah,
they really
even I feel
leave?
like, yeah, you see, yeah, even like Chinua Achebe described it as, decolonization was simply a shift from colonization to neo-colonization. Like there was no change. They're
Yeah.
still here.
Describe neo-colonization.
Okay. I don't want to mislead people here,
Mhm.
but I feel like it's I don't know. Don't have to describe it. Maybe Neil or Isaac. Do you have an idea? Like it's Isaac who asked the
Yeah.
question.
No, it's
Mm,
just I don't know. I don't
mm,
know if I don't know. I thought neo-colonization is like believing what your having the same similar beliefs as your colonial like power,
mm. For
like
me,
or
mm,
thinking the way they act or the way they do things is the right way.
Mhm.
mm, I
I
think
thought that's neo-colonization.
for my thought, neo-colonization is just colonization
Mhm.
despite the fact that we're independent. Like we're independent, yes, but then they still have some extent of control over us. So I thought that was what neocolonization is, in very simple terms. Do not quote me. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So what do you think when people think that decolonization was just you know, that obtaining of political independence?
Uh-huh. It's an interesting one.
Mm,
But say in the end, we you end up having to look at those so much more that it wasn't just the political side; it's also the cultural side. Like I can say, back to the type of policies we have that up to today, I don't think we'll be free from them.
mm-hmm.
And now looking at it from a narrow perspective, we still live in a world that's more or less created by the colonizer. So that's the country we live in.
That's so true. And I think we see it every day.
Mhm.
Mm. What do you think, Isaac?
Are the effects of colonization?
Yeah, or viewing decolonization as only that obtaining of political independence.
I think we haven't been able to move forward in the right way. Like for example, I think our countries have remained stagnant,
Mm-hmm.
like still back there.
That's true. Like back when the colonizers were still
Yeah,
present.
I feel
Yeah.
like because people are still living in the same poverty that they were
Mm-hmm.
then, and they weren't before the colonizers came.
Yeah, that's so true. Like, I feel like that's even what now the neocolonization is. Like, yes,
African reserves have now turned into slums.
yeah, and even new slums have been created near the urban areas that they left.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where colonization, I think that's where neocolonization comes in. Now that this, you know,
Also, I got the
mm,
definition of
yeah,
neocolonization,
yeah,
and actually, you were
yeah.
right.
I was right.
Yeah,
That's
neocolonization is the
Okay.
continuation or the imposition of imperialist rule by a state.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
basically.
neocolonization. And also, I feel like if we view decolonization as, on it is gaining political independence, like we totally disregard what happened during colonization. And it even enables people to now whitewash, like to completely forget or disregard or ignore the evils that happened during that time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like we have a historic and apologetic accounts of colonialism. For example, colonization helped us. It made us
I think
civilized.
that's what they teach in the UK, that colonization
For
had a positive
real.
impact, because the people here completely don't know the negative impact that colonization had. They think it brought in civilization and development to Africa.
And
I also
even as
think
they see
Hollywood has
the
played a big role in this, which surprises me, because the movies that they show of Africa are just so backdated. And to be very honest, I found out that very many people use movies as the source of information. I didn't even, I didn't think
that's so
something like that
true.
was serious, but like how people see things in movies is how they think real life is.
Yeah, that's why they ask us if you guys have you encountered that in the UK? Like, do you live with animals? Do you have a lion? Do you guys have water?
I've gotten the water one strangely. I've been asked
Eh,
about the question, and it started from jokes like, "Oh, there's no water there."
how about you, Isaac?
I got a malaria a while back, like when I was back in Kenya, and I
Yeah.
was telling that story to someone in the UK, and they're like, "You got malaria? How are you not dead?" I don't know what, all these things. And the truth is, like, malaria is really treatable.
mm, that's true.
I'm not saying it's a bad disease. It kills many people, but it kills many people because of lack of access to healthcare, which is
Yeah.
still a
Mm,
problem of colonization, as we'll discuss later on.
yeah. So, in that sense, it didn't. I don't think it really helped the African. And even sometimes people just do a balance sheet. This is what colonization did good, and this is what it did terribly. And most of the time, people find that the good was better than the bad, which I think is incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
And even there are professors, educated professors in big universities who even like they actually research on these things, and they're writing about how you know moral evil, economic good, how it was like there were many moral evils that came with colonization, but at the end of the day, you know like it helped Africa economically. Then it also leads to inaccurate assumptions about our present condition. And this was what I was telling you guys the other time, Afro pessimism. So, like blaming all the issues that Africa is facing
Mm-hmm.
on the African. Of course, like also we have to take our responsibility for what's happening in our own continent. But then we also have to recognize that our Africa was long, destroyed before independence. Our economic systems, our social systems, all of those things were disrupted when they came.
Yeah.
So, like, why is the African the only person to be blamed? Also, white people they should pay for their evils. The son should pay for the evils of the father. Me, that's what I believe. Yeah.
No, I do. I feel like, yeah, the son should pay for the evils of the father, and that's why I think
Mm.
reparation should happen for colonization.
An effective
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
reparation, even if it's difficult to monetize what happened. But I
because
mean, like,
trauma can be passed
yeah.
on to generations.
And it is being passed on to
And yeah,
generations.
and if it can be passed on, then I do believe that you pay for your father's wrongdoings then.
Yeah.
Because on this
'Cause-
other side, or yeah, it's just to, I mean, Amelia, you're a lawyer, like that balance thing. If these guys are having trauma and mental problems from colonization, and these other guys who, benefited from colonization are still sort of benefiting, then shouldn't they pay reparations?
Yeah.
They still
Yeah.
own Cadbury.
Yule mumama anakaanga huko lazima alipe.
She's
Anyway.
still profiting from West Africa.
Mm, yeah. Most of these colonial countries are still profiting from us.
Um,
Even through these two loans that we're
yeah.
taking, they're still profiting. Even the way they extract things from us, they're still profiting. Yeah, so you guys, let's discuss what actually happened during when we were obtaining our independence. No, even during colonization, like what these white men did to us. I feel like they just dehumanized us. They just degraded our humanity kabisa, disregarding the fact that we had our own knowledge, we had our own culture, we had our own systems of government, we had our own economies, our own modernity.
They
They
destroyed
just,
all our pre-existing knowledge.
yeah, they
Yeah.
did. And I feel like that's dehumanizing somebody. Like seeing that their way of living is the only legitimate way a human being can live. Seeing it as their moral duty to civilize us and using that as a justification for a further attempt to dehumanize us. Because imagine somebody comes to you, Isaac, na wanakuambia that you can't think for yourself. You can't think for yourself. I don't even think you have a past. I completely disregard your past. I even say you don't have a history. I just see you as an animal, basically, like somebody who can't think for themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody who, like, is not rational. You
But
get?
honestly, where does this all date back to? Like, how can you come
Yeah.
and see someone who's functioning like a human being? I mean, black people do function like white people. We're the exact same thing. So if you see someone just a different color, like, where did the hate come in? Like, is it because of Darwinism? Is it because of does where's the source of the hate coming from?
The whole classification of animals, the different kingdoms and the subgroups under those kingdoms. Yeah.
mhm.
But then he believed even within the same species, there's a particular hierarchy. And the only way the black people can become better is if they copy or become more like white people. But white people don't need to improve because they're already
Had
perfect.
you
But
also
then the
done
black people
this?
don't
Had
care.
you also said this? Like, with this logic, then, black
Yeah.
horses, brown horses, white horses, did he also grade them like that? Same to cows. All these animals that have different pigments. Did he
Mm,
use did he use that logic there?
I don't know, and I don't think so. Like, I'm not completely sure, but I know he did that for humans. I don't think for cows I don't think he did it off color, but for Africans, for human beings, he did that. And it doesn't make sense. There was no empirical evidence supporting that assumption or conclusion that he drew. Because how can somebody believe that? The only way to improve is to become more like the white person, and the white person is already perfect. He doesn't need to improve. They don't need to improve. And so that's why when they came to Africa, they saw that theirs was the only legitimate way to live, and it was their duty, yani god-given duty, to make us improve, make us become more than them, so that we can become perfect human beings like they are. Even somebody who,
I
yeah.
think what that has also created is like, that longing to reach white perfection created
Mm-hmm.
an inferiority complex like amongst Africans.
Yeah.
That's completely true. Like racism has a big part to play in what happened during colonization. Yeah. And they made us believe that we're inferior to them. And we allowed them to write our story. And they brainwashed us. Even till today, like we still think, oh, most people in Africa think that we're inferior to the white people. And even many white
I think
people
that's
think,
present in
yeah,
the Kalari society. That's Kenya.
yeah, precisely, yeah, that lighter is better than the darker shades.
Yeah.
Mm. Because like like the light skin privilege, all of those things. Yeah, but
Another way
mm,
I know that they brainwashed us
mm,
is, so I was reading this thing that said basically denied the ability for minds to flourish during that period of, that the first few years of colonization, like when fathers and mothers were taken away from children and killed, and it was basically, it wasn't a time to live. It wasn't a great time to be alive. You were just surviving. Like the horrors of colonization were just very fresh. And I feel like that continued, that horror, that trauma. Now I'm basically explaining generational trauma. But I feel like
mm,
that was also one of the ways that they've been able to really, really have a long lasting effect.
effect.
Hmm.
Mm, mm, yeah. What we're talking about that whole Darwinism that Isaac mentioned. I
Hmm.
feel like it also has a role to play in many other racist theories, like the
Hmm.
modernization theory, which we will discuss later. Also with appearance, yeah, which we will also discuss later.
Hmm.
So, what do you guys think decolonization is really about? Like, what should it be about? How should we view it?
How should we view it?
Mm,
How do you view
to
how
view
do you view
it.
it? Explain to me. That I don't know. I haven't gotten that
Yeah,
question.
because we're
Yeah.
trying to wrap my head around this.
Yeah.
Explain
Um,
to me how you view it.
so
Yes.
me, I think decolonization,
Hmm.
like, no, it shouldn't be as what some people believe as that period where we obtained political independence from the colonizer. Like, I think even you guys mentioned how you view decolonization, and I think that's how we should view it. Like, we should view it as a way to learn to unlearn, like to unlearn what the white people, the white past, our colonizers, what they instilled in us, and to dismantle the Western centric, patriarchal, and racially hierarchized, like hierarchy, racially, hata sijui, I can spell it, but I can't pronounce it, ways that we think, like to let go of that colonial mentality, the one that makes us feel like we're inferior to the white person, and essentially rehumanize ourselves, remind ourselves of the fact that we have a history, we had valid knowledge systems in the past, we had our own form of modernity past, and also that we had our own culture, which they took from us.
Hmm.
And that's what I think decolonization should be about.
I think to add on to that, I also
Mm-hmm.
think decolonization should be about the very people, which is us, like the people of Africa, accepting that this happened. I feel like we've now moved on, like it's in our history. Like people talk about colonization like this thing didn't happen 50 years ago. And I know 50 years sounds like a lot of years, but it really isn't. So to begin, So I just want to say, like, basically, decolonization begins by the very people accepting that it happened. That way we can look for a way to move forward.
Yeah. Neil, do you have anything? What do you think?
I'd say that as well, but I've started thinking that both sides of the field need to accept colonization for us to flourish. Because if the white man starts seeing that, oh, I actually messed up, that up to today there's some things that aren't okay to tell a black person. Like once they start knowing that, oh, this is a trigger for a black person, and once they get that knowledge, I feel like life is going to be better for both of us. So that, like, it's weird to say it, but also the white man knowing what they did and everything is part of decolonization. Because
Yeah.
once we as a people, like more or less togetherness, like well, these guys know they did this, and while they own up to the fact that as much as the in a economically privileged place, a lot of it came from the backs of black men and just the black community in Africa, or rather just what they colonized.
Me, can I say
Yeah.
something to argue with Neil?
Mm-hmm.
To be very honest, for me, I don't think it's our obligation to educate white people that colonialism was bad. I feel like they if they didn't already understand that it was bad, and if they can't already understand that it was bad, then that's their own mental problem. I think the best way we can deal with this is by showing them that we are a force to reckon, and this is by abandoning the small things that they put in our societies, the racial hierarchy
Mm-hmm.
that's there, which is colorism,
Mm-hmm.
the Christian centric values that they've given us, the patriarchal values that they've left, the
Mm,
imperialism, colonialism, heteronormative, just all these Western centric ideas that they left behind. Like, if we start by abandoning them and we show them that we don't actually, like, we're done being taken for idiots. Like,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
What about
Mm-hmm.
father?
when we show them we're done, they'll understand we're done. Because, I mean, Africans, we're the biggest force to reckon with in this world. We have all the resources,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a population that's ever growing.
And
Yeah.
also the brain power. Yeah. Well, clever people.
Yeah.
Mm. Then yeah, but do you also think that it's also up to us guys to now like establish the information base, like research, write, talk about it, create documentaries, like m- come up with ways to tell our story
Yeah.
from our perspective, because
Yeah.
most of the information out there is our story perspective.
Yeah.
Like I think that's also our duty. So even they have no excuse. Okay, but they should know what went on. Like I get what you're saying, Isaac.
Yeah.
Like they're the ones who did all of those terrible things, and even they have records to prove that they did all those terrible things, which they still have in their possession. you know so yeah, but then also Africans also, yeah, it's not our duty to educate them.
Like, we can't be held
Mm,
responsible for their
yeah, that's
ignorance.
true. For them not knowing what happened, it's not, like us, we can do the role of educating other Africans, but then for them, it's up to them.
Yeah,
But then,
like, I feel like what we've reached that point where we're done talking. What now needs to count is the reparations they need to pay. They need to pay what they
yeah,
owe, pay your dues.
yeah, and I feel then some people are going to make sure that they pay those reparations. Yeah, like there was this lady, I'm forgetting her long name. Her name was Michaela Wrong. I think it was that. And she helped these people who had suffered those monstrosities during that Mau Mau era to get reparations from the British government. Though they didn't get a lot, like it was still something
No,
that
you've
helped.
seen that
Like,
case. There's this case that's ongoing in Kenya right now for this guy
mm,
who, sorry to say, but he got boiled in a steel milling plant, in a
mm,
steel boiler, and
mm.
the family was paid 450K.
Yeah,
And you
like
saw the way
it's
Kenyans
pennies.
tettered on Twitter, like it was a whole situation. Like Kenyans really brought down Twitter because of the little money they were paid.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Now we have freedom fighters who were killed, tortured,
Raped
discriminated,
with
humiliated,
bottles filled with pepper,
and and then they were being paid 500,000.
being raped with hot metal rods, and
And then
that's
you're paying
all
them
you have to show for
500,000.
it. Yeah, it's
That's
very little.
I feel like, I mean, yes, you paid me 500,000, but that's also very insulting.
It is very insulting. It basically shows that like it wasn't such a big deal. It's also like quite inhumane. I don't know, to do something like that. Like it's very degrading.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. And you know, if it just I feel like they can do much better. They should do much better.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Like even Chimamanda went
Mhm.
to talk at a German conference about how they stole our art, not
Mm-hmm.
art, and they didn't realize the value that art played in African society and and in people's personal lives. And now African art is just that
I can see recently a lot of countries have been
mm,
trying to get the
the art
artwork
back.
from the museums, and they've refused.
Which also that's quite it's unfair. I don't know. Like it's
Mm,
just huh?
I feel like there's a different level of racism that Africans experience.
Yeah,
We're really not
so
taken seriously.
that's true. Even it's legal, even with
Black
scholarship.
Americans can
Mhm.
stop the world. We saw that with George Floyd. Africans could never. They're not, even Black Americans don't take Africans seriously.
That's true. And even our scholarship only goes so far. Like what happens in the global south, not even only Africa, even the South American countries, the Caribbean countries.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I
like
feel
how
like
can you
that's
refuse?
because I really blame the media. The media has
Mm.
spread so much misinformation about Africa. People
And
think the
also
entire continent is a banana continent. Like you know the way you can have banana countries.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, people think the whole continent is a banana continent. At least that's how they treat it.
And even the earlier accounts of what Africa was, the dark continent
Tell me how we're a
with
whole continent that doesn't have a
savages.
veto power.
That's true. Yeah, we're not Africans aren't taken seriously in any field. And also like it's just that an internalized racism that started from Akina Charles Darwin.
Mhm.
You hear internalized racism. Yeah, and like how can you refuse to give somebody back what is rightfully theirs? Like we created it, our ancestors created it. Like yeah, it had okay, so like it had a very like the meaning to those people was so deep, and yet they've refused to return it. It's very unfair. Yeah, so just all up. Yeah, decolonization is just like now rebelling against our own dependency. Now these default settings that they instilled into us, and it's difficult. because the same people who are supposed to spearhead are the people who were colonized. So, learning to unlearn what has been hammered into you, into your brain, completely difficult.
Yeah.
So, Isaac and
Yeah.
Neil, like, what do you think you can do, like, to rebel against your dependencies, like what you've always done, what you've always thought, what you've always.
I feel like a huge part is taking time to learn your own culture. Like, I'd say the biggest problem you have right now is we have a huge generation of new Africans, or just Africans who were born after colonization, who the first language is English, barely know the mother tongue. Like, I'd say taking the time to actually put in some work, go and learn what your grandparents went through, what they did before, or what maybe your great grandparents did as a living when there was no colonizers here. But just trying to figure out where you come from. It's a big part.
I think we also need to take pride in our African roots. And for example, ways you can take pride in your African roots: abandon your English name. That's
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 what I'm doing.
that's one of them.
Mm.
Another one is abandon English.
So
Speak your
what?
mother
Or
tongue.
learn your
Speak
mother tongue.
Kiswahili.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We have two national languages, and we have mother tongues. We don't
Mm.
need English.
Don't feel shame in speaking Kiswahili or in the fact that you can speak your mother tongue.
yeah,
Yeah, there's no shame there. Learning your history and learning your culture before you go out of your way to learn their history and their culture.
yeah.
Which
Abandon Western
in
clothing. I don't
yeah.
want to see you wear vlon, wear kitenge. That's more impressive. I'd be like, this guy in the kitenge.
Yeah. And don't atiwa because it's a special occasion. It should be normal. Go to work in your kitenge suit. Go
Yeah.
to school in a headscarf even if it's not allowed.
And now that's
Even that schools really, Kenyan schools really need to
Yeah, they need to style up.
they need to style up.
Why
These
can't boys
hair
have
rules are crazy.
dreadlocks? And
Pardon?
like if you don't comb your hair is just going to free lock.
I was having the same argument with my flatmate yesterday.
Yeah.
So he told me comb my hair. And then I
I
was like, why should I comb my hair? Then he
mm,
just said it looks neater combed. And I don't understand that. I just don't understand how hair
yeah.
looks neater combed. Because
Even this definition of neat is the colonizer's definition of neat.
that's not how my hair grows naturally.
Yeah.
If you don't comb your hair, then why should I comb my hair? Because it's not
Mm,
growing straight or silky like yours.
it's not nini. It's not you said it's not straight. I wanted to say something else I forgot. Yeah, but yeah, like that's how the our hair naturally grows. I don't straighten my hair 24/7. I
Kenya
don't want
generally has
to.
a serious
Yeah,
problem with hair.
I
People were
don't want.
killed over dreadlocks the
Yeah.
last year or
Did,
something. And
did
then
you
this
hear the
year,
story of the girl? Yeah,
the girl, we found out that she was killed in school because of
because of
her
her
hair.
hair. Hair, bro. Even I remember in high school we were not allowed to have African kinky hair. Here in Ufalagani, you're
Mind you, the
refusing an
people who fought
African
for our
girl.
independence had dreadlocks.
Refusing
Yeah.
an African girl in an African school in Africa to not have her hair be in its natural state. Like, make it make sense. The math is not mathing,
But I think
bro.
this all started from when we were kids. Because I can remember when I was a child, one of the things that was something that you have to have for your personal hygiene was a comb.
Mm,
And I mean, a handkerchief and all those things, toothbrush, that's necessary. But then the comb there, and having combed hair was seen as neat. And I was taught in nursery that you should comb your hair,
I just don't like comb. It's painful. It doesn't
right?
make lock my hair. It would have already been free locked.
And that doesn't mean I shouldn't have hair. Actually, you have to shave bald because you know.
Yeah.
And this, that still shows how, to some extent, we're
Mhm.
still, huko ndani kwa kichwa, we're still colonized. Even when it comes to language,
Mhm.
I don't know. But when I was a kid, I remember speaking Kiswahili or your mother tongue or, something of the sort.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know. People just used to see you in a different way. Like,
I think
I
I
don't know how
think
to
I
explain
think
it.
that's possible. I think that still happens because at some point in time,
Yeah.
colonizers were able to cut our ability from like a certain generation of children weren't able to mentally flourish the way they would have. And so you
Could be
have
because
them
of
passing
that.
passing down all these problems that they develop because of colonialism, like self-hate. Like
Oh, yeah.
you literally find black people who dislike themselves because they're black,
Even just
That's
shit like
true.
bleaching.
right?
Yeah.
The fact that some people have bleached their skins and it's a thing. Like it's not stopped. As much as you talk about how you might die from it, guys still go, they bleach their skin.
And
And even and
I feel like decolonization has to happen now. Now, as I was saying, epistemically, you have to now go back and kill this pre-existing knowledge. So it has to be cut short, like in our society, like right now, within the generation right now, so that the generation 50 years to come will no longer have the effects of colonization,
yeah,
or will no longer feel the effects of colonization.
we have to break those mental patterns
Yeah.
and
Yep.
learn to unlearn. Yeah. Then also I feel like colonization manifests itself today even with accents, the way you articulate your words, and I'm not sure because I know for me in some settings, like somebody won't listen to me not because of what I'm saying, but because of how I'm saying it. For example, if I don't pronounce my R's in a particular way, like kuna shida with what I'm saying. You can't respect what I'm saying. And I've experienced it in many ways. Because there's some people who, they're even not, how do you even explain if someone is articulate or not? Is it because wako na accent ya nini? Ya Uingereza, I don't even know. But you see the way I'm speaking right now, my diehard Kenyan accent.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people don't respect what I'm saying because I speak like this. But then if there's someone next to me who probably speaks in a more, I don't know, in a more British accent when I'm
Mhm.
skiza, even if like we're saying the exact same thing. Yeah. Which I find very, very sad. Because sometimes I've missed out on opportunities because of my accent, which is really sad. Have you guys ever experienced anything like that?
Mhm. Not yet. I'm sorry you've experienced that.
Hey, I'm sorry for that. Well, I'd say for us, it's just different. I'd say how I pronounce some things has obviously changed since I got here.
Okay, guys, that has been it for today.
Yes, that ends our episode for today. But this is not the last you're going to hear from us. We promise we'll be more consistent with our posting. Yeah, so see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends.
Yep, that's it. So you can just say bye.
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 Kwaheri.
Kwaheri.
Asante kwa kutusikiza. Tutakutana wakati mwingine.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Yes.